Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. This is the post-match reaction for Leicester City 2, Everton 2. I have what I suspect to be two very contrasting pundits here today. I do apologise. The other stream, I don't know, it was live. It was just a builder following. We had loads of people on. But I must have pressed end broadcast or one of
No, it's just a rollie, mate.
Doesn't matter. I'm not having more than three in at once. So if you've got anyone in the waiting room, you will have to wait your turn. I'm sorry because I don't want people talking over each other too much. But I believe that Chris, you are like myself, utterly furious. You can see the bright red pumpkin face that I'm wearing right now. And Jeff, I believe you're a little bit more content. So
I wouldn't say content.
Everyone's allowed their opinion. Who wants to speak first?
Okay, I'll go first then. So, I know everyone's going to go mad and they're going to have like sort of a big rage about all of the stuff. To me, it's one of those where overall that's about as good as we've played in ages. Yeah, we made some mistakes, but that's been what Everton have been doing all season. However, we fought back, and the context of the result makes it like a bad result because we need wins. But you can't say we didn't play. You can't say we didn't play well because, we competed in the game, we scored goals, we had two or three absolutely brilliant chances. The keeper made a couple of absolute worldies, and it's like, yeah, I'm disappointed that we didn't win. And the context of the result is important, but I'm not going to sit here and rip all those players to bits because apart from Iwobi, who I didn't think was particularly great. I know he scored, but apart from that, I think they all gave everything they've got. But it's one of those where we are because of this isn't the best team in the world.
This is getting ridiculous. I can't listen to this anymore. Yes, they gave everything they got, everything they had exactly. How many? We might have the most options we've had all season on the bench, and to let those players to watch Leicester basically not be able to walk anymore towards the end of the game, and we can't put a fresh leg on with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20, anything. When is it going to be enough? Sean Dyche is costing us points now. This might be what gets us down, and it's all basic nonsense bullshit. It's the simplest thing. Make a sub. It is that simple.
For me, I'm leaning. I mean, let's have our opinions here. Let's respect everyone's opinion. This is the beauty of it. We've got over 100 watching. I don't want Jeff to sit on here and everyone to sit and agree with each other because that would make a very boring show. And actually, that would not be true to yourselves. So the contrast in opinion is fine. I unfortunately, I have to go more with Chris. I thought Dyche was passive in his approach. The players didn't look coached at times. I thought they made bad decision after bad decision on the ball. Defensively, we were very vulnerable. Michael Keane was like a dead man walking at times. And I thought Dyche was extremely passive. And I was livid. I've got to be honest. I was livid that he didn't make a change. Leicester were tiring. Everton looked exhausted as well. We had options on the bench. We had players there. We had Onana on the bench. You could have brought him on for fresh midfield legs. You had Damari Gray on the bench. There was options there. I know they're not good options, but still, to sleepwalk that game, which was absolutely there for the taking. I thought Leicester had one tactic today. Get the ball in behind to Jamie Vardy, isolate him with Michael Keane. And we obliged to that with great effect. We allowed Jamie Vardy to pick up the ball in behind. We didn't play an offside trap like you see teams do against them. We played into their hands at times. And we're running out of games. We're absolutely running out of games. And Jeff, I appreciate what you're saying. If this was at the start of the season or even at Christmas or any other time, I'd say to you, yeah, it's a fantastic point away from home. We were 2-1 down. We saved a penalty, okay, which we had no right to save. And we came and we clawed back for a 2-2 draw. But I have to look at this in the wider context of that we are playing another of the dross teams in the league that will make mistakes. Okay. They did make mistakes and they continue to make mistakes rather than exploit it and keep that stability. We played into the hands. I didn't think we pressed well enough. I felt like we pressed as a 2 up front. Decore, the commentator was raving about him. I didn't know what he was. I didn't know where he was. I didn't even think he was playing for us at times. Okay. Maybe I'm seeing this wrong, but I didn't quite understand the pressing style. All Leicester would do was play around us, pass around us easily. Iwobi would go and try and press the fullback. They'd pass it in behind him. Patterson or Coleman would go and they'd pass it in behind him. Leicester were playing vertically in behind us. Okay,
completely
that's fine.
Who was the team actually in the second half who looked like winning the game?
Leicester.
Even up until the very
Leicester
end of the game. No, we did. And we created chances, and we created chances even in the last minutes. We were still going for chances. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and, like, who are we going to bring off the bench? And how does that affect the game? Who are we going to bring off the bench?
Ellis Sims.
Right, because they've been so amazing this season. We were playing well, and we were going for the game. We were actually the ones that looked like they were going to win. And we created chances. The keeper made saves. So, like, it's one of those where I just don't agree. I don't agree that people are just going to rip into bits.
Jeff, do you understand, though, that, you know, while it might
I don't understand at all, no, because I'm an absolute idiot.
That's not, I never said that. Hang on. Take it easy. I'm not, let me just hear me out. I'm not calling you any names. I'm not asking you anything. I'm saying, even though these might look like chances in terms of with tired legs, you understand that these chances could be taken with fresh legs. A guy like Demarai Gray could come on and actually create something, as we've seen him do in the past. A guy like Ellis Sims coming on as a super sub, 10, 15 minutes.
The game was there to be won.
How do you not put an attacker on?
The game was there to be won. Jeff, we did create some chances. I appreciate that.
Yep.
What pissed me off more than anything was watching us when we did get the chances. Michael Keane, and I've got my fists here in my hand. Jasmine, who was sat downstairs, my missus downstairs, could hear me banging on the wall, banging on the thing because of the brainless decision making that we'd make, or just little things time and time again, giving the ball away cheaply when you're under no pressure, picking the wrong option when you've got loads of time on the ball. We had players, Jeff, honestly, I've personally felt like Michaelenko contributed nothing, either defensively or offensively. Decore, I felt, contributed nothing. I didn't understand what position he was. Yes, he had that good shot with his left foot at the end, but I was very confused over who he was.
Realistically, who are you going to replace Michaelenko with?
No, it is what it is. You are right. We are right in this. We're allowed to be annoyed.
If you're going to take who are you going to replace him with?
Ellis Sims or Neil Mopé, Jeff, a striker. Any striker that has fresh legs.
They've done absolutely nothing to show that they deserve a place on the pitch. Like, he was
Jeff,
still playing well.
How can you tell me Ellis Sims has done nothing? Well. How can you tell me as a sub away Ellis Sims has done nothing? How can you say that?
He hasn't done an awful lot, Chris. He scored one.
Yeah, I don't care. What has DCL done other than what he did today?
Right. He played for the whole game, and he was a threat the whole game.
Okay.
He was okay. I am the immediate.
I think you just need to watch it back again later, because you're like really angry about stuff, and it's like, if you look back at it later, it's like, I don't understand what we're supposed to have done. Bring on players who are a step down from what we've actually got on the pitch.
So then, by that logic, never make a substitute then, ever then, right? Because everything, you have your players that are creating the game.
If you're on top in the game,
we're not on top in the game.
No, I did. I thought Leicester were all over us.
This is I don't.
Sorry, but you do it. You ask.
Listen. Okay,
Cheers,
both you're allowed to have your points. We've got loads of people watching. I'm gonna. Look,
that's why I said I want to come on, because I knew everyone loves the after feud and the rage, and it's the tempers go, and no one actually talks sort of in a calm, rational manner. But I just don't understand.
There's nothing calm or rational about this. Jeff, it's
Okay.
May and we're in the bottom three.
Yeah,
I know.
it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to talk emotionally and be at each other's throats, right? I'm only going to be on here for a few minutes because I've been in the garden for 6 hours today putting up a fence, and I've got my dinner here, right? But what I will say is we missed a few chances there. Iverson, their keeper, had a worldie. The Corey went in. There was a deflection that came very suddenly off DCL's foot. There were a few chances. I mean, DCL ran in as well, and Iverson just got a touch to it. And I feel that on any other day we could have scored one of those 3 or 4 very close chances, right?
Yeah.
Now, equally, Pickford had a fantastic save, but I feel that some of our calamitous mistakes that was a compounding on Keane a deflection and Keane and Coleman being caught out, and that's the tired legs. Vardy's always been fast, even if he's got older. Now, if we're going to pick sides, but I don't. I'm speaking on my own behalf. But if
there's nobody's side here. I just want an opinion. Get to the point.
That I don't know who exactly. Although there would have been fresh legs on the bench, I don't know what quality they would have offered if it changes the dynamic of the game to an extent of maybe going from being on top with that looking like we could have got a third goal. Because what I saw, the Everton team that I saw tonight was a transformation against the lack of fight against Palace and the capitulation against Fulham. It was a complete change. And look, I mean, if anyone noticed when DCL came on the pitch and he's doing that tapping technique, which is a thing for anxiety, the guy is quaking. Now, okay, it might have been, but he grew. Okay, it might have been not an open play goal. It might have been a penalty, but he got that goal. And then he got stronger and stronger throughout the match. He led the line. Now, Doucouré started to close it down. James Garner is a huge step in the right play because he kept aiming the ball forward.
No, it's not 4 at once, please. Seriously.
James Garner kept pushing the ball forward. Dwight McNeil.
I'll let someone else in.
Yeah, Dwight. No. I'm agreeing with you.
Time for everyone.
Dwight McNeil played fantastically. Iwobi's poor pass, instead of lobbing it over, was the reason that they got that goal. Now, okay, we didn't convert those chances, but we didn't capitulate as we have done previously. We fought back. We went a goal in front, which was a penalty. Okay, not an open play goal, but we still persisted. We went 2 goals down in quick succession. Or relatively, and I was like, oh, what's going to happen here? And it looked like, we could have fallen apart, but throughout the second half, we again grew into it. We defended that very well. You're talking about not closing down. We did exactly the right things to push it out to the sides. We played very high. We're not going to play an offside trap against Maddison and Vardy. We're not going to play a high line against Maddison and Vardy when we've got Tarkowski and Keane, who've got the mobility of Jeff knows, got the mobility of an articulated lorry. Now,
okay. All right. I'm moving on. You make some good points here. This whole argument here is not about whether we should have made substitutions or not. I'm allowed to sit here and be pissed off that we gave a penalty away for an idiot sticking his arm out and then showing his hand to the ref. Okay. Oh, it didn't touch my hand. Look, it didn't. It hit me here. Brain dead idiots. Let me finish. Stupid. That's why I'm annoyed. He was about to interrupt me. I didn't like, not you, Jeff. Jan was about to say something.
Oh, right, okay.
We're allowed to come on here and be annoyed that we've got players playing Premier League football making stupid errors like that. Okay, with the handball. Yeah. Okay. We're allowed to be annoyed. We've got midfielders on 100 grand a week who cost 34 million pounds giving the ball away in midfield without not getting his head up, not having that awareness. Okay. You're meant to be a talented footballer, giving it away, and then for us not to be set up to have the right structure to react when we lose that ball to the one passing behind. I'm allowed to be irritated by the way we are structured for when we lose the ball, okay? And the fact we give it away time and time again, and we do things half-arsed in possession.
I can respond to that.
The 2 things that annoy me. Yeah, you can respond
to that.
Yeah.
This is exactly that, right? The whole season, right? All season, we've done exactly these same things. We make silly mistakes, give the ball away. We give the ball away in midfield, etc., etc. So I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, we didn't do those things," because we did do those things. But those aren't things that are just this game. this is something that's happened all season. That's why we're 17th in the league, is because certain players do not have the quality and certain players make silly mistakes. So the
So are
only
we
thing
going to
I'm
change it?
So hang on. So the only thing I'm on here to say is
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and rip all the players to bits for playing better than
When
they
they
have
look
all
confident.
season for the most part, because credit where credit's due. Like, they fought back. They got back into the game. They fought as hard as they can. They did the best they could. And I don't see anyone in the bench who's going to do any better than the players on the pitch were actually doing. Now, the fact that we're not good enough as a football side, yeah, I'll criticise that. That's down to the board. That's down to the owner. That's down to the people who've made decisions above. But the players that were on the pitch were the players that were on the pitch, and they gave everything. And that's all I'm trying to say is they gave everything they've got. And we had people made 2 or 3 really top draw saves. We could have won that game. We played really well, considering how we've been playing recently. That's the best I've seen us play in weeks. So I'm not going to sit here and rip all those players for playing the best they've played in the past month.
Okay,
I'm just
thanks,
not
Jeff.
going to do it.
The first goal as well, you've got that problem with I have to look at this as we've got 4 games left, or 5. This was the 5th game left against a bottom competitor who aren't playing very well. What can we do? And I said in the pre-match, what can we do to not play into Leicester's hands? I felt with the way we pressed quite sluggishly at times, reactive rather than as a group, like we pressed with Decore and Calvert-Lewin, but it didn't feel like everyone was going together. Okay. Allowing them that ball in behind to Jamie Vardy was the thing that really concerned me. The first goal, okay, you're giving away a free kick because you're caught out of position needlessly. Then you don't win the first header. Yep. You don't react. And then Michael Keane doesn't get the block in. And then you've got James Tarkowski stood in front of the goalkeeper in his line of vision. Okay. I am allowed to be annoyed with how they are set up from the set piece.
But where does he have eyes in the front and the back of his head?
Why is he backing off? Why is he 2 yards? He could be playing someone on side. Why does he need to be
Because
there?
If he's slower, he's going to open up the position. He's got to block the goal and try to go for the safe. Where do you play?
Stood in front of the goalkeeper.
What position do you play, Ryan?
Not relevant. Not relevant. Not relevant.
The stream is going to be spicy, and it definitely is spicy.
Not relevant at all. What I'm saying is, why is James Tarkowski stood in front of Jordan Pickford? The only defender stood in front of. Why is he not being proactive and getting a block in where it should be? Why is Michael Keane not clearing it?
That's the whole point. None of these players are as good as we'd want them to be. They all make mistakes, right? So I'm not criticising the fact that we've made mistakes and conceded daft goals, because it's obvious that we have. And we've done that is because we've got players who aren't good enough. That's a fact. But all I'm trying to do is say that they gave the best they could. This was a performance where they actually gave the best they could. And maybe it's not good enough, but that's why we're 19th in the league, because they're not good enough. But at least they actually put in 100% effort, 100% performance, and they fought with some heart as well tonight. They come back into the game, like after going down, after took the lead, they went behind, they made silly mistakes, but they fought back in, got back into the game, and they went on and tried to win the game, and we had chances to win the game, and we fought until the very end of the match.
And it lifted my spirits. Seeing Everton, how we played.
That's why I'm not ripping the players to bits for the bad things they've done, because this is the same thing we've seen all season. They make mistakes because they're not good enough for this level of football. And Jamie Vardy, by the way, can terrorise anybody because he's absolutely rapid.
Jeff, Jamie Vardy has scored.
I'm going to drop out. And I'm
going to drop out as well because I'm just getting stressed by this. So
Jeff,
bring someone else in, right?
Answer this. Jamie Vardy hadn't scored in 15 starts.
And he scored last game. He scored last game, by the way.
Hadn't scored in 15 starts. We're like a charity for charity.
He scored in the last game.
I don't know how you can sit here and be so calm with 4 games to go.
I'm not calm
because not calm is not going to change anything.
I'm just being honest. I'm not going to rip the players to bits for giving probably the best away performance that we've given all season, apart from the Southampton game. They literally fought like fuck, but certain players aren't good enough. That's it. Like, I can't rip them for being not good enough. I'm going to rip the board for having these players instead of signing better players. That's who I'm angry at. I'm not going to be angry with these players for giving everything they've got and not being good enough. I'm going to rip the board for signing these players.
Okay. Jeff, you stay. Right, I'm going to go. I've got to say, I said all I really have to say. Seeing Everton's performance tonight really reinvigorated me, and it seemed like the players actually have some fight in them, which makes me feel more positive about the remaining matches. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. As always, like, subscribe, join, follow Everton. But yeah. I'm going to let Stevie pop in because he's only got 5 minutes.
Jan.
Hopefully, John will come back on.
Much appreciated. Thank you,
Domino Chris is going absolutely bonkers in the green room there. He's just trying not to. Yeah, I said if Keane gets the header, though, I said I'd eat my own elbow. So, yeah. Take
Thanks,
easy,
Jan.
guys.
See you soon. Feel free to drop back in later. Jeff, I'm going to bring in, I don't know why he's put himself back in.
Oh, stop it.
Jeff, this is the thing, football and the fact that we're in a relegation zone, people tempers are wild. I think I don't have the same patience for it. I got extremely... Who's putting that up? I will kick whoever's putting these comments up. Don't think I won't kick. Don't think I won't just boot. Don't bring the comments up. I haven't got the patience. I know you're on a wind up. I'm thinking Everton are 4 games away from playing championship football. 700 quid for the season ticket renewed. Yes, Jeff, I do think a lot of them gave a lot. I think some of them didn't. I think some of them did let us down with stupid mistakes. Some of them aren't good enough. And I think the manager was passive. And on that bombshell, I will bring in Stevie for a moment. I think that Stevie, please come on here and tell me that a spade is a spade.
Ryan, you're very prickly tonight. I have to say, I'm really with Jeff on this one. Thought that Everton,
can't hear you very well, Steve.
Very spirited performance.
No, it's crackly, Steve.
Okay, I'll come up with the phone.
Hello? No, it's crackly, Steve.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, don't buy Apple AirPods. Look,
That sounds like you're in a studio. Why are you not using that in the first place?
Because it's what's the built-in. Look, the fact is I've got this smile on my face that I didn't have for 90 minutes because it was far too stressful for everyone involved, as we know. If Leicester won today, it puts daylight between them and Everton and doesn't bring them in the race. It's basically a 4-horse race. Well, Southampton are still in it, possibly West Ham, but let's be realistic. There's 4 teams there. It's a race against those 4 teams. Look at the fixtures. They've not got easy games. We've not got an easy game against City, but the context of this is we were about to go 3-1 down at halftime. We were not coming back from that. We finished 2-2 and we played a spirited performance that wasn't world class, but we got near the ball, for God's sake. We were away from home. You know, we've been watching it for season on season and not seen anything like this type of performance. Yes, Leicester let us get possession, but there was evidence there that there's lots to build on, and yet it's 4 games and it's tight, but we knew it was always going to go to the last game of the season. We still know it's going to go to the last game of the season, and we know that we've got to basically use home advantage and beat Bournemouth and maybe rely on other results. Nothing's changed, you know, but we've come out today and we could have gone down. We could really have gone down 4-1, 5-1 again, but we've come back 2-2, and you can single out individual performances, but as a team, we played with guile, we played with interest, we played with spirit that's not been there for most of our away games. And I don't want to like pick on any particular player, and literally they would break a leg, and they have to play today, and they played for the shirt from minute 1. Yes, we're always going to get caught out by Jamie Vardy. It's almost like it was written in the stars that he's going to play. And he's going to get in behind, and he's probably going to dance around Keane, round the keeper, and all of that. That was kind of like.
So why is he playing him, Steve? Why is he playing Michael Keane when he's got Yerry Mina on the bench and Connor Cody?
Well,
we've conceded 21 goals under Michael Keane. 21 goals in 9 games.
I think it's to do with continuity. I mean, you can be consistently bad, or you can just be damn awful. And I think it was maybe a risk to throw in Mina into this game. This is the game. This was the game where we all said we must win. We've got to win. We've got to win. But in reality, this was the game that we couldn't lose. If we lost to Leicester, then they are daylight ahead of us. So when we go to bed tonight, we're still in it. Whereas
Steve, I think
Leicester had win tonight, we are not in the game. We're not in it. We're not in the. We're not in the race.
Steve,
we're statistically odds against.
You
right?
both make good points. Stevie, you make a really valid point that we couldn't afford to lose to Leicester. Okay. But when you look at the fixtures we have against Man City and Brighton, and you look at the potential of going into the last two games of the season well adrift, potentially, you know, I really can see us losing. This is why, and I think the reason I am so overly emotional about this game and so wound up, and maybe perhaps can't just... Yes, I can see it was a spirited. We come back from 2-1 down. Okay. But I got so emotionally invested in it, in the game. We went 1-0 up. I thought, this is it. We finally turned a corner here. And then we go and do the same stupid shit that we do every single time with the 2. And then we give away a penalty and it should have been 3-1 out of sight. That's why I was so wound up at halftime. I couldn't believe that from a position of strength where we were the better team in the first half. Anyway, we had more control than Leicester. We allowed them to get 2 of the cheapest goals and the penalty. It was Jordan Pickford, and without Jordan Pickford, we would be finished already. He kept us in it, and yeah, we showed the fight. We probed. I thought Leicester still overall in that second half had more of the control in midfield. They had more composure on the ball. I felt like maybe this is the Everton nerves that is actually, you know, overshadowing the fact that maybe they weren't that good themselves.
But they didn't look nervous, Ryan. They didn't.
No,
they did.
Leicester
We have looked like we're
didn't
going to
look
shat
Leicester.
ourselves in a lot of games this season. This wasn't one of them. This is one of the games where they actually look like... They look like... Oh, it could have been a championship match, but they look like a football. They look like a football team. All right, not a very good one, but they look like they're on the same pitch as each other.
Yeah.
And I can't say anything bad about them. I mean, look, if the Corey's goal goes in, we're 3-2 and we're all over the moon. You know, it's fine margins, and I still think there's twists and turns to go in these 4 games. It's like a mini league. It's whoever does the well out those 4 games. There's 1 point we're behind those 3 teams: Leeds, Leicester, and Forest. And look, have you seen Forest fixtures? None of those bottom teams.
But they've already got the points on the board, Steve.
Arguably, our hardest game is City at home.
They've got the points on the board already. This is the thing. They're in a much stronger position than us.
They have the points, but they only have 1 more point than us.
That's all you need. You only need a goal difference.
None of those teams look like winning. None of us look like winning. All 4 of us could go. Basically, it wouldn't surprise me if we go to the last game in the season and no one gets any points, or just like 1 or 2 draws. It's going to be tight. It'll be, you know, it'll be really, really tight.
I know you're trying to stay positive.
I think
I really felt this game was for the taking. The Calvert-Lewin missed. The Calvert-Lewin sitter, the Decore. There was chances. The
Calvert-Lewin sitter is
2 corners we headed over. Keane and Tarkovsky, gilt-edged chances. You don't get many chances at this level. He's headed it over. Jeff, you know the ones I'm talking about, don't you?
I do, yeah. And like I said, I'm right. I need to be clear because this needs to be understood. Am I saying the players did like amazingly well and didn't make mistakes? No, I'm not. I'm
You're
really
saying
not.
they're marginally less shit than they were the previous week, basically.
And what I'm saying is they gave 100%, and if 100% isn't good enough, I can take that because they gave 100%, right? That's all I want to see from my team. I want us to win. I want us to stay up. I want us to be brilliant. I want us to win every single game. But first and foremost, the heart of an Evertonian that beats inside me, what I want to see more than anything else, first, foremost, and last, is I want to see a team that fights for my shirt, for my badge, for my team. And that's what I saw today. So, yeah, I can criticize individual errors. Yeah, I can sort of bemoan the lack of quality. I can bemoan the missed opportunities. But I'm not going to rip the players to bits for giving everything they've got and coming up slightly short. Yeah. That's all my point is. And so, yes, like, could we have made substitutions? Yeah, we could. I'm not sure that the substitutions that we've got available would have made a blind bit of difference. I'm really not, because
I think
we were still creating chances in the 90th minute and nearly scored a winner from
Jeff, I
Decore.
think Damari Gray might have been an option near the end.
He
I
might
mean,
have been, yeah, but he's not played for and getting into the pace of a game like this. Sometimes when when you're doing well and like everything's kind of working, the team's playing well together, changes disrupts the flow of the game, and we could have easily lost the game. And so it's a
it.
risk.
That's it.
Got to
And
bring Chris
there
back
were
in a sec. By the way.
Tarkovsky got a header away. Pickford read across really well. There was basically a lot of
Don't put
instances where
yourself
you could
in,
say
Chris.
we did quite. You could say it's very noisy there, isn't it? Where Mabsy is. There were lots of instances where you could say that there was some sharp defending. I mean, yes, we can focus on whatever we want. Everton, this is the most coverage we've had against on the pitch for a long time in terms of box to box energy. Yes, it's not amazing. It's not. It's never going to be amazing. Not with this squad and the history. But given the fact that we're so precarious in our league position, to actually play without the fear, I don't think we've played with fear today. And that was the fit. That was the
No one
potential.
disputes. No one disputes. And I need to. And you've been brilliant, both of you. But I do want to bring Chris in a sec.
It's okay. I can drop out.
Yeah, drop me out now because I need the low. So
Okay.
I'll set my piece. But nice one. Like I said,
Jeff,
it's not
brilliant.
a case of I'm not like trying to sort of say that that there isn't faults there, because there definitely is. But I just didn't want the players ripping to bits because I thought they gave everything today.
Listen, I wasn't going to sit here anyway, Jeff, and say 1 to 11 they were bad. But I had a couple of players there that as I said, Michael Keane and Alex Iwobi in that first half, and possibly a couple of others that I felt had really let us down. And I felt the manager could have brought on Damari Gray and could have brought on Onana the second half, late in the game, for fresh legs. When we did get that last 10 minutes, when we had the control in the last 10 minutes, Leicester, they were there for the taking.
They could say the same thing
10
about
minutes.
us. They
Steve,
could say
10
the same
minutes
thing
against Leicester. We would have had more chance of winning in that 10
You wanna
games
drop me
against
out now?
Leicester.
You could do, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you for
The
being
10
the
minutes-
calm. Thank
Thank
you for
you, Jeff.
being the calm voice of reason post whistle.
The
Jeff,
10 minutes
our,
of
regular there.
the 10 minutes
Look,
of
yeah, they were probably saying the same thing against us, about us as well, Rhino, because they would be looking at us going, "Oh, Everton are soft pickings and their defense, we could easily get through them." What we did well in the second half was we saw that they were getting in behind space wise, and that we basically dropped off a number of yards to stop them from playing that sort of game against us. If Vardy had got in behind, or any one of their players for that matter, I think that it would have been really difficult for us to cope. But because we sank a little bit deeper, I thought the game plan was spot on. You saw that with Decore and the chances and the breaks we had, and McNeil looked like he had energy still in him at the game. And
he was unbelievable, by the way.
I am gutted that we didn't win 3-2, but I also would rather be in this position than lose 3-2 after a game like that. The lots of media comments, friends and family, are saying, what a game it was. It's the sort of game you really don't want to lose.
I need to, Steve, thank you so much. Emotions are absolutely running high, and pleased to have all of our members come on so far. I would like to get John from the ground. I know there's loads of people watching. There's over 200 watching, and all in the comments, they have been noted. They're coming up on screen, but there's a lot to say and a lot of people who want to get their opinion here on the show tonight. I don't think anyone necessarily is wrong in what they've said. I think to some extent, Everton players did work hard. I felt like some of them probably could have given more. Some of them did have more to offer. And there was an element of disappointment there for me. And I felt like Sean Dyche took too long to get the players to drop deeper into a position where we could handle Leicester a bit better. I was also disappointed with him that he didn't make the disappointed that he couldn't make the substitutions when he had the players available and we were on the up, and he could have just taken the impetus. I am to say I'm pissed off with the fact that Michael Keane gave away that penalty, was so sluggish for that first goal, and really how we gave away the second goal. I'm just annoyed, and that's why my tempers, and that's why I feel so wound up, and perhaps I can't see that it is a decent point. And one person that I really want to get in is Chris, but I just need to give Mabsy 2 minutes because I know he's waited so patiently.
Hi, right.
Very quickly, Mabs, please, because you're not in the studio.
Yeah, no, what? Sorry?
Very quickly, please, Mabs.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that at the end of the day, if we go down, I get the Please. He deserves it. He's such a good goalkeeper. Michael Keane shouldn't have did what he's done at the end of the day. Absolutely. You know, I don't want to see him play for Everton again, personally.
I've lost him.
Gone.
Yeah.
That's where I mean, at the end of the day, that's the better performance we've seen in fucking ages. So, you know, we've got to give credit. We've got a solid point away. Hope we can do the business, and you know what? We stand a fighting chance of staying up.
Thanks, Mabs. See you soon. Right, I'm going to bring in my friend Chris. Chris, I'm so sorry you had to sit through 36 minutes patiently waiting, but I hope you may have calmed down. Personally, I think...
I was fine. I wasn't having a go at anybody by any means. We were having a discussion. I just wasn't going to be cut off by a musical graphic, but that's irrelevant. The point is, nobody was ripping the players to shreds. I'm saying that...
Yeah, no one actually said anything.
Yeah, I know. And so that's why I don't understand what that defense was about. I'm saying it's blatant ignorance at best to pretend that a 76th to 80th minute Decore chance, even if he's created a chance or McNeil's created a half chance, you can tell how slow the pace has gotten with them and how tired their legs are. It's so evident. It's so clear. Why are we pretending that pace would have been the same as a sub Damari Gray, as a sub Ellis Sims, as a sub whoever? I don't understand.
Pedestrian. It was absolutely the way we counter attack. I mean, the thing that annoyed me, and Chris, I think you will agree with me on this. We should have set up some better traps for Leicester to force them inside, to give the ball away, what Garner's good at and what Decore and sometimes Garner was good at, waiting for Leicester to attacks to break down and win that ball in that midfield and transition and attack them quickly. And Dwight McNeil led the charge with plenty of opportunities with that, Chris.
Right. And that's
why when we did it, why didn't he capitalize that and think, okay, well, now I've got options on the bench. I've got Damari Gray who can offer a bit of pace on the counter attack. We will get 1v1 situations. All it takes is one chance. Instead, when we did attack, we'd have to wait for X and Y and Z to get forward to support. It was infuriating in those last 10 minutes because I felt like it's okay, whatever. Jeff's probably right in saying that they did give 100% and that's the minimum.
Nobody's denying that. And listen, as you also said, that just means that they were less shit than they have been. And whether they gave 100% or not, that also doesn't mean they were good because Keane wasn't, Mikalenko wasn't, Decore wasn't. Yeah, so Iwobi scored, but for the most part of the game, he wasn't either. So I appreciate the fact that they fought for the shirt, gave 100%. I'm not denying that. Jeff also followed that with the players just aren't good enough. Guess what? That's right. So make a sub because they might have more of a spark today and they might be better on the day. And to say that we don't know what they would have done yes, we don't know. That's the worst part about all of this. We're going to live now with not knowing because we could have had fresh legs on. I know that wasn't your main point in terms of making the subs. I'm tired of it. Deitch has cost us a lot of points at this point. I'm never going to forget Forrest, and I'm never going to forget today. It was there for the taking. It's not about not being happy with the draw because before the game, I said mathematically it's not the worst thing in the world. I stand by that. But having said that, it was there.
Yeah, the game was there. I just want to do a quick shout out to Chris Talon, my friend who's watching on his television at home with 203 other people currently right now. We will divulge this. We will do a phone in. I don't care if it goes on past midnight. We have got a lot to digest. Everyone's made some good points. And I can see in the comments, there's loads of wonderful comments coming in. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you're new here, please subscribe. Tempers are raised. Emotions are high. And I think it's just, Chris, because we are 4 games away from being relegated. At this stage, we are in the bottom 3. We've got a right to demand more. We've got a right to be pissed off with individuals who made stupid mistakes, with a manager who looks more passive with every single game, and sticking with his favourites. And it's just infuriating.
Yeah, and
it's just annoying. It's annoying. We're allowed to be annoyed. We're allowed to be pissed off.
Because for most of the season, it was, the players aren't good enough. Well, guess what? The players actually turned up today and put in a performance that arguably should have got them the win. And now, of all things, now we're getting let down by our manager. Now that the players actually show the fight, the manager is the one that's losing us games. Even if it's a draw, it feels like a loss. That's the most infuriating part. The players actually turned up.
It felt like a loss, even though we saved a penalty and clawed it back from 2-1 down. Because I just don't think I know Leicester they got a little bit of trickery with Maddison who gets it on the half turn, and they've got Harvey Barnes who's quite direct. I mean, I thought Patterson didn't know whether he was coming or going. He was like a rabbit in the headlights, and the same with Keane. And some of them were just
but Patterson, at least from a one-on-one defending perspective, I was okay with, especially after watching Godfrey on the right. I was okay with Patterson. He didn't make any extreme glaring mistakes, unless I'm just forgetting something. Whereas obviously
got run past a few times.
Maybe I've forgotten that. Then I have no problem admitting that. I don't remember. I remember Patterson making a couple of good defensive plays, but again, I've seen so much on the right lately that maybe that's clouding it a little bit, because I think Patterson was at least the better choice. Given
it was two poor teams. I didn't quite understand why we were afraid at times to get forward and to push on. I think perhaps a little bit more width coming from the fullbacks. Some of it, to be honest with you, I'm probably overreacting. It just felt like some of it was just quite stupid at times.
But again, and
brainless.
Steve says, well, we're only a point back, and I appreciate that, but it's not like getting these points. Getting 1 point is just not an easy thing. And not only that, that's just assuming that everyone else won't get a point, right? Now we have to find a win at Wolves or at home against Bournemouth. They're not beating Brighton. We're not beating Man City. Now it's to the point where we likely have to find a win somewhere. And this was the one where we found it. It was there. I don't know.
Stephen Woodside says he respects us, but it doesn't feel like a loss to him. That's fine. This is it. I mean, this is a difference of opinions.
Yeah, 100%.
I just feel quite deflated. Maybe it is just because we are in the bottom three with 4 games left. We play Man City and Brighton next. I just can't get away from it. If this was, as I said, if this was Christmas or earlier in the season, then fine. It's a great point away from home. We've come back from a position, but I'm looking at this and thinking, stupid mistakes. On another day, we lose that 3-1. We missed gilt-edged chances. Calvert-Lewin, we headed 2 over the bar late. Dwight McNeil was trying everything, but where was the energy and the effort from the others to make something happen? Like McNeil, he really wanted something to happen.
Right.
Just infuriating. I know some people in the comments aren't happy. I know others are saying it's a point gain, but Jack, what's a point going to do now?
I would be less pissed if this was the first time rather than the 7th or 8th time we've seen this in the past 10 weeks. Because I know I'm harping. We're on kind of different wavelengths, because I'm harping significantly more on Sean Dyche, because I think that this is unforgivable. You said that continuing to play Michael Keane is a sackable offense, because it is. It just is.
Were they my words?
I believe so. That was on the tweet that you put out. If not, then I'm sure you agree with it. It doesn't matter. The point is, at this point, it's ridiculous that that's even happening. We almost lost the game strictly because of Michael Keane. If you really just want to have an argument on that, that should have lost us the game. And that's not even the worst thing Sean Dyche did today. Well, maybe it is. Whatever.
And I said that we'd be relegated without Jordan Pickford because he's pulled off some saves, and that penalty today to read the situation. It was a poor.
To be fair, Pickford almost cost us the game too. But we won't
with the stupid thing on the touchline where he's
exactly.
This is the thing. This is why I'm wound up, Chris. Some of the players, yes, they might have given 100%. Yes, they might have had some gilt-edged chances and some decent chances. And yes, overall, maybe Leicester didn't cause us that many problems. It's just the brainless, stupid decision-making and the lack of awareness at times. Should we dissect the game? Let's dissect the game, because I think we owe it to our because we've had a lot of emotionally charged opinion. And let's start off with the team news then. Coleman came back into the team, and of course, unfortunately, it looks like he's broken his ankle, and that I suspect, Chris, that will be his Everton career over, and potentially his footballing career. He's out of contract at the end of the season. He's on around 65 grand a week. If we do go down, I can't see us paying that kind of money for anyone. He might take a massive wage cut, but it looked like a really bad one, didn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just hit on that first.
No, it looked bad. I mean, I tweeted out, I was just gutted for Seamus, regardless of what you think of the game. He is a guy that would run through a wall for Everton. He's been our stalwart in terms of spirit, in terms of fight. What we've wanted all the time has been, I mean, if we could have 11 Seamus Colemans, we'd be just fine. And so it really is a heartbreaking thing to see, especially if that's the last we see. I don't think it's the last we see. Let's just pretend we go down. I actually do think he'll do exactly what you just said in terms of taking a pay cut, if he can. Now, physically, he just might not be able to at this point. So we'll wait to see. But it's just it's just heartbreaking.
The Blues are regular saying he thinks it's a an ACL and an MCL.
No,
I mean,
it wasn't a knee. It was more of a lower leg thing. So I don't think that's
got bent right back. I personally think that's the last we'll see of Sheamus, and such a shame. Such a shame. Anyway, that was the main change to the lineup. Apart from Onana dropped to the bench, I think he's carrying a little bit of either a knock or illness. So James Garner came into the side, and he looks like if you can get him a little bit more involved,
right.
There's some potential in there. Either way, next season you suspect he'll be a key player for us. So, Chris, how did you think Everton started the game?
I mean, fine, other than the consistent giving away of possession by Iwobi and a couple of other midfielders. But in terms of pace, I thought it was fine. I thought we were the better side, specifically for the first 20, 25 minutes. Obviously, we earned the penalty, and I thought we're doing just fine up to that point. Then comes the defensive lapses, which I'm sure you'll touch on.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like, and as I said in the pre-match show, I felt like Everton owed us a game, and they were going to do one. They were going to turn up today and show us a little bit of composure. And as I said before, when the going gets tough, hopefully they were going to come good for us and do just about enough. And I felt like for 20 minutes we were good. I felt like there was intent there. I think Calvert-Lewin looked up for it. I think it wasn't spectacular. We were giving the ball away. I still felt like they were exposing us. They saw that little area in behind Seamus Coleman, where Jamie Vardy would make a run off one of the centre halves in behind into that space. I did feel like it was only a matter of time before he got in behind, pulled one back to someone running into the box, and there was a couple of those opportunities.
Right.
But it was Everton who took the initiative. It was a ball from, I believe, Seamus in behind the Leicester defence, something we didn't do. A lot of our supply into Calvert-Lewin was very much into his chest, chipped balls for him to kind of hold on to, and difficult supply line to deal with. And I wasn't particularly enamoured by it. But the goal comes a little bit of clumsy defending. Leicester push him over. You're thinking, there it is. This is going to be Everton's day today. And you've just blocked someone. I love it.
He deserved
it. He's gone down. Calvert-Lewin, he's kind of looking for the foul, but it's a clear penalty.
Yeah.
And my stream died. I do actually have Sky Sports downstairs. I just couldn't stomach sitting in the living room with my missus and actually watching this game. This was a headphone on jobby upstairs, laptop. Don't come at me. I'm going to smack someone because I can't cope. Kind of game.
I don't know if you saw, I tweeted out my dog gets scared when I shout and make a lot of noise. And so he's sat in the corner, just kind of like quivering. And I'm like, man, I feel bad. I had to give him a few extra treats, but like, that's how I rarely get that way with games anymore. And I was fired up today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, us two, I don't think Jeff and Jan were too happy, or Stevie with us.
I just don't get it. And I just texted Jeff. I please understand. I think they both know I'm never gonna actually have a go and get personal or anything like that. But I wanted Jeff to.
No one was personal, and to be honest with you, no one even started slating.
Yeah, but you know how sensitive people can get, including whatever. The point is, let's go back to
the penalty.
No, hang on. With the greatest of respects, I don't get what they're watching that I'm not. Okay, get back to the penalty. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'm sure they respect you both. The penalty, he hits it straight. He banks on the keeper to move, hits it down the middle, top center to the left. It's a good penalty. And if you look at Calvert-Lewin statistically, where he hits them to the keeper's right, kind of Calvert-Lewin likes to side foot them into the left side, his left side, Calvert-Lewin's left side.
If I remember correctly, though, I think the last penalty he took right before this one was exactly the same, dead center, but this time he hit the bar and it went straight up because that was the Brighton game at home, if I remember correctly. So he tried to do the same thing again. I was worried.
He did miss the pen. I'm glad he got the goal. My stream died. It come back on and then it started doing a stupid froze. I celebrated and there was an air of content, Chris. I felt like at this point, 1-0 up, we're not gonna be that stupid away from home when we don't score goals against the side that we have to win. We're not going to be stupid enough to do anything brain dead today. Little did I know, it didn't take too long. We're caught out in transition. The ball comes back from one end to the other. Dwight McNeil brings him down on the left-hand side, the free kick. Leicester players are licking their lips. I'm thinking we'll be fine. Everton haven't conceded a goal from a set piece under Sean Dyche that I can remember. The ball goes in. Was it the first contact? Mikolenko doesn't win the header, and it's It then comes over to the left.
I believe so, because it's kind of a little bit of a pinball there, because you catch Keane going to his left and then having to turn around and go right back to his right. And then I don't even know if he was necessarily out of position, but I do think he could have done better with it. But he was a little bit kind of on the move.
It was a ball in. Mikalenko doesn't deal with it. It comes back out. Second phase of play. Coleman could go out and meet the Leicester player, get a block in, force him wide. We make it easy for them. They chip it back in. Actually, I think it was a ball over the top, and then it goes to Coleman, Leicester player versus Coleman. Then it goes back in, and that's when Mikalenko doesn't lose it. It was a bit of a pinball, or a bit of a mind-blowing thing. All I remember now, I'm sorry, I feel like it's all getting muddled.
We're old at this point. Memory's starting to go.
Coleman should have closed someone down. Mikalenko should have won a header.
Let me pull it up. Go on.
Michael Keane doesn't get a block in. He's got to block it. And then I was annoyed with James Tarkowski because I thought, why are you 2 yards behind everyone else? You hold your position and stand up. Maybe why can't you block it?
Right.
The keeper couldn't see it. He was distracted by the position of Tarkowski. I felt anyway. So
it's a Coleman's out. Coleman's out to close out his man. Vardy crosses it to the other side. It's Tarkowski. I know it is Mikalenko that doesn't get the best. I don't even know if he necessarily misses the header. I mean, no,
Soft.
He really does. It's got to be better.
Soft.
Comes back the other way. Keane's already trying to go to the middle. Kind of loses the man behind him, and then it's just put in. I mean, it's if anybody, I'd say maybe more on Mikalenko than Keane, but it's still not great from Keane.
What do you think in the comments? Whose fault was that? I mean, it looked like an unavoidable goal. It looked like championship quality defending.
Okay, perfect example. Even when Keane's sort of going the other way, Keane starts to come back. He's got plenty of room to actually go for the ball, but instead starts to kind of back like he's scared to actually make the move. And then it's such a poor look from Keane. He's more at fault for the other thing, but this is still a poor look.
Okay, so we go in. It's 1-1 at this point. You're thinking this is same old Everton. How can you be that stupid? And I felt like we continued to give the ball away and make some bad decisions. We were still in the game. We did create a couple of opportunities at this point, but Alex Iwobi, he's running inside. He hasn't got anyone to pass to. There's no options, but he doesn't get his head up, and he plays it to a player who the pass wasn't on, was it? It was blocked. It was marked. I think he was playing to Garner.
No, it's just it's just a horrible pass, and it's if you're gonna make that pass, it's a hospital pass, but it's a horrible thought anyway. It's completely on Iwobi.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Emma. Keep the comments coming. We are reading them as they're coming in, and we will do a phone in straight after this, and that will be more of an opportunity to get loads of comments on stream and to get some people in if they want to speak. But you're right. You can't describe it in any other way. It was a horrible pass. He didn't need to do it. He could have just got rid. He could have passed it back anywhere but to the player who had someone intercepting it. And then it's one pass in behind. It's slow to react, and you could argue that what can Michael Keane do there? But it's the lack of anticipation.
There's a lot he could do there.
Does he not stay goal side? He just loses his runner, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what Leicester did. That's how they won the league. They waited for teams to make mistakes. They got the ball in behind with the pace, and they did it. And Jamie Vardy was superb. He ran around Jordan Pickford, sold him, sent him for a hot dog, as they say, and slots in. And at 2-1. I'm ready to slam the laptop shut. I'm fuming. I couldn't believe we made two glaring errors. I mean, the second one is much more of a glaring individual error, but the first one is a team collective shambolic defense. And at 2-1, we go up the other end, Calvert-Lewin. Decore and McNeil, I think it is on the left-hand side, work a bit of an opportunity, and the ball comes across. He's just got to tap it in.
I said in the group he could turn his foot 20 different ways and 19 of them score that ball. And for some reason, he's picked number 20. I don't get it.
Having scored a penalty, you'd expect the confidence.
Exactly.
Hit the like button for us, please. Peter's right. Hit the like button. Subscribe. It's an unbelievable miss. I couldn't believe it. And there was another one before that. I think there was a couple of opportunities. Dwight McNeil.
McNeil had just missed before. Exactly. Because I tweeted out, how could you miss that? Who am I talking to?
You know why? It was on his right foot.
Yeah, but still, you're a professional footballer, for God's sakes.
Two massive chances that you have to take at this level. The Calvert-Lewin one inside the 6-yard box. That is his bread and butter. The Dwight McNeil one on his right foot comes across from the right-hand flank, has to score. This is why you get build up with the stress, Chris. This is why you're becoming angry and frustrated. And that's why you come on here and you wound up, because you remember these moments and you've built yourself up. And they're two glaring opportunities there. Thank you to our latest subscriber there. We're at nearly 2,150. Keep the subscribers coming in. Glaring opportunities. Yes, and please subscribe to Real Domino Chris as well. We can plug that a little bit later when we're out of here.
When we only have 30 people watching. All right, go on.
I'm just trying to analytically go through this.
I know, buddy.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, because it was a bit all over the place at the start.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The you're thinking big opportunities. We're going to come to rue them. Leicester are going to come back at us. They did. There was a bit of huff and puff. There wasn't an awful lot of quality both sides. And then you see Leicester, they like to get the ball down the left-hand side. They targeted Coleman. They targeted the space in between behind Michael Keane with those runs. It was quite clever, but at the same time, it was effing basic football.
Right.
And there you go. It's Michael Keane. He's got his arm raised. It reminded me a little bit like Mohamed Sissoko away in the Champions League final against Liverpool a few years ago. Very, very stupid. You're thinking this guy, I'd done a tweet maybe 2-3 minutes before saying, if Keane doesn't come off, he's going to cost us a goal. Looking like a liability. He's getting dragged everywhere. He can't cope with the pace. I think there was options on the bench in Yerry Mina and Connor Cody.
What do you think he's actually saying to the ref as he's doing this?
Maybe it's hit me, ball to hand. But his hand is raised in an unnatural position, blocking the path of the ball. The fact that he then goes to the referee and points at the position, which is a clear handball. For me, that is one of the most brain-dead moments of Everton Football Club that you have witnessed, and we have got many of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. A friend of mine on Twitter said Michael Keane's hailing a cab and then pointing to his arm. I don't understand it.
TJ mid, Keane always waves his arm around. He flaps them. Did he look nervous? Was this just a lack of confidence? I mean, you said in the build-up that he wasn't.
Well, it looked they show on the American broadcast, they show a little bit of behind the scenes as they walk up before they walk out. And you can see Keane he just looks nervous. He's turning around to James Tarkowski and talking to him, and Tarky's trying to calm him down. It was just a very clear, nervous Michael Keane. Get him in there. I see him.
Yeah, I will do. We've got Jonathan Roskin live from the Leicester City Stadium. We will come back after his analogy and continue from where we left off just before, just as the penalty is given away. This is our good friend, John. John, you've been to Leicester, the Vitality Stadium. It's called
King
the
Power
Vitality
Stadium. Come on, mate.
What's the Vitality? They're all mixing. They're all mixed together. All
Vitality's
just as shit as each other. Sorry, the Foxes Stadium, the Walker's Crest Stadium, the Gary Lineker Stadium, the whatever stadium you want to call it. John, the floor is yours, mate.
Hi everyone. I'm not too sure how to feel with that. Obviously, I don't think I've ever had such a range of emotion in a 90-minute period. Obviously, when 1-0 up, clear penalty. 1-0, thank you very much. And then I think the first 20 minutes, I think we played very good football, and it was energetic. It was ours for the taking. I think as soon as Iwobi makes that mistake, we just look a bit more flat. We look deflated. It looks more in their hands than it does ours. And I think the two teams play quite similar football. There's a lot of balls which are searching forward, and you push the ball forward. And
oh, we're losing him.
Oh.
It was just his audio. Yeah, go on.
Searching balls forward. There was a lot of that, wasn't that, John?
There's a lot, but I think they play it much better than we do. They have their star striker, Vardy, and they know who they're trying to pass to. With us, we're sort of just lofting the ball up there and hoping for the best. And I think there's a lot of times where we waste possession.
This is spot on. He's spot on. Why are we chipping it in then? Why are we chipping it into Calvert-Lewin? Why you just spot on? Let's just pause on that for a sec. The ball to Vardy goes in behind into dangerous areas where you can cause a threat, where you can hold the ball up and cause some real issues. Why is the Calvert-Lewin? Why are we chipping it into his chest when he's isolated on his own? He's got to bring it down and then find someone when there's not a player 20 yards of him. I mean, you described this spot on.
We've had injuries with Calvert-Lewin constantly, and I don't think his strength is there. And the pace we have in our team is not really anywhere to be found. So for them, it might be easier for them to bring the ball down, hold up play, and send someone else forward. Whereas Calvert-Lewin is, as you say, very isolated up there, and we haven't really got many options with him. So it ends up wasting the ball much more often than anything comes of it. Just a quick mention about Dyche. I think what he's done with the team has been decent, and we look a bit sharper. But I can't seem to understand why he doesn't bring anyone on. The fans were screaming for Damari Gray, and whether or not you like him or think he's done a lot this season, I think in the 80th minute or even the 70th, he would have been a perfect sub to bring on and utilise his pace, get forward. Doucouré, although he put in a shift, looked absolutely dead from about the 65th minute, and he could not move a fucking another meter.
It's not even
He
a
was
sarcastic
done.
applause.
It's ridiculous.
Couldn't be more in
So
agreement with
that
you.
would have been the most ideal opportunity to bring some fresh legs on, inject a bit of pace into this team. You could have brought on him. You could have brought on Sims. You could have brought on Onana. I think, again, Onana, I know he's been injured or had an injury, which he's trying to get off, but bring him in the 78th, 80th minute. His physicality would have shredded through them. We could have pushed forward and then given the ball to Calvert-Lewin. So,
John, you've been my favourite
definitely
speaker so far tonight out of everyone, because I think you've seen it exactly how it is, mate. You've seen it exactly how it is.
And then, obviously, we go back down to 1-0 from a very poor mistake. And again, I've said this time and time again, it's these silly errors which are costing us massively. And that could be the difference there. But obviously, Iwobi scores to equalise the game. And he redeems himself a bit from that. But it is these simple errors. I think as well, obviously, Everton fans are going to miss Coleman. I'm not too sure like what happened really. I saw the tackle go in, but it's hard to see when, like, from where I was, it happened in the far corner.
Yeah, it's a bad one, John.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that. But when he was going off, everyone was singing 60 grand for Coleman. And obviously, the passion that man has for us, even on a stretcher, after breaking your ankle, if that's what happened, he's still going like this and trying to get the team going. And honestly, if every other player had that passion, would be champions at the moment. But honestly, I think we've missed one here, because a point is still a decent result, because it really puts things close. But I think we've really missed out an opportunity to get 3 points there, especially against the rival and a game that could have been ours.
What we're thinking is maybe Leeds, Forest and Southampton will be relegated, but we have to pick the points up, John. This was a massive missed opportunity.
Vital opportunity to get.
So are you annoyed?
And
you're annoyed with the manager for not making the substitution and capitalising on the weak Leicester?
I'm not annoyed. I am absolutely fuming. That was the ideal opportunity to make a change. I've been screaming. The fans are screaming for Gray to come on, but anyone would have made such an impact.
The fans wanted it in the away end.
We were screaming for it. Damari Gray, ole. Like, bring him on. Inject the pace. That's what he's there for. Why would you play the same team?
Why did we attack like a bunch of 90-year-old grandmas?
There's no pace in the team. And I know Doucouré put in a shift, but he looked absolutely dead in the 70th minute. Bring someone else on.
It was the same game as we saw at Forest, with the only difference being it was 2-2 instead of us being up 2-1.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I'll be honest, I couldn't remember Doucouré touching the ball. I feel like that's just one that went over. Maybe my stream was that bad. But positionally, I didn't quite understand what we were doing at times. John, I completely agree with you. I felt like the service into Calvert-Lewin at times was a bit brainless. I think defensively we allowed ourselves to get exposed. Yeah, go on.
I saw it a lot better than I did. Calvert-Lewin, which he's absolutely fluffed.
Yeah, open goal. Open goal from 1 yard. There's not even a keeper in his line. Then? The ball takes a slight deflection, but it's the way he doesn't anticipate it. It was a bad miss.
There's a difference as well. Every other team has got someone where you could see your eyes on them, set them, and be like, yeah, they're putting that away. I mean, I could put that away at a Power League game, but we just seem to not be connected in some way. It's infuriating. And also, another point, how do we go? I know this is a bit all over the place, but it's all the emotions coming out.
Doesn't matter.
How do we go from having like a great shot on target or having a good chance to then go all the way back and then hitting the bar? Because we could have easily gone about 3-4-1 down at half time. The way that things change,
spot on, mate. I'm tweeting it.
We should have a shot on target to then be on the back foot. Yeah, someone put a tackle in, but to be that exposed to then go and then pretty much have a great chance, and obviously they hit the bar, but that could have easily been a goal. And to have such an exposed defence, how is that happening?
John, this is exactly why. This is exactly why, mate, that I couldn't agree with Jeff and Jan before, because I don't know how they missed those moments where.
Yeah, John, were you watching our stream before, John? Have you heard the comments?
I was in the waiting bit, and I heard Jeff make a comment, which everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I was like, I could not disagree more. Like, I was like, have they watched the same game I have? Because I was fuming at some of these chances. And yeah, we got a 2-2 draw, but we could have gone on to win, especially a game where we're playing the relegation team that we're battling against. That could have made all the difference. I could have been
The fact that we've gone on,
singing the blues, and now it's such a mix of emotion.
The fact that we could have gone on to win that game, John, also the fact that we could have so easily thrown it away, are two reasons why myself and Chris have not been able to stay calm and allow this to be seen as a really good result, which might have been seen out of context as a good result. I have to say that those moments where you're talking about where we're nearly scoring, hang on, John, when we're nearly scoring and the ball comes up the other end and they nearly scored off our chance, you telling me that our structure and our team setup is set up right? Well, I'm telling you, it's wrong. It's not set up properly. The structure's not right.
And I think at times you see our defence and we're sitting so deep in our own half. But then if we're sitting that deep, how on earth can we go to them back and almost concede from our own chance creation? It doesn't make sense. It seems as if when we're defending, we're way too far up the line, and then that's why we're so exposed. But when we're attacking, we sit so deep, and there's no one going forward. It's like the complete opposite of what we're supposed to do.
John, you're absolutely brilliant. John, I'm going to let you go. We're going to quickly wrap up our last remaining bits of the game. You can stay with us if you want.
I'll just say a few final comments and then I'll head off for you boys. But I think, again, the fans are always there. Obviously, we've got 4 games left. I had a look at the remaining fixtures. Every team has hard games. I think Forest probably have the easiest because they have 2 somewhat winnable games. But it's all up to us with what we do. I think we need to, again, cut out the silly errors. And I'm pretty sure if you see every video I come on, I say the same thing. But it's true because every game we have another silly error. The fans,
thanks,
obviously,
John.
I think there were a few people that were turning, but I mean, it's understandable. It's very frustrating, but
let me ask you about the fans, please, in the away end. I mean, you sounded like you were really up for it, and thank you so much, because the Everton fans are the only decent thing about this club. What was the atmosphere like in the away ground? Was it nervous? Were they angry? Were they furious as the game went on? How would you describe that?
So personally, the whole drive down, I was absolutely shitting myself. When we got there, I'll send you videos later, but maybe you could share it on Twitter. But the pre-match where the bars are inside was absolutely electric. It's so loud in there, my ears are still ringing from it. But it was great. When we get in, Leicester, you need to sort your stuff out. The only reason you have a good atmosphere is because you have drums going on, and every single time you score, you put music on the speakers. The actual fans are not able to sing on their own, whereas Everton are carrying it. Everton was singing constantly as always.
The atmosphere was great from an Everton fan. What was the mood like, John, in the away end as the game went on and at full time?
Anticipation. I heard some people very aggressive and shouting. I wasn't shouting at the players. I was trying to get behind them. But I think Dyche got a bit of stick, especially from the 80th minute on, for not bringing people on. That was the overall.
Yeah, people got annoyed with the tired legs.
I think with the players, I think overall, I think Keane got quite a bit of stick as well because he wasn't playing close enough to the man and it just let them run past him. But overall, I think there was a very, very good atmosphere. And for the final 4 games, we just need to give everything we have.
John, thank you so much, mate. Thank you.
There you go, guys. Up the Toffees.
The sad thing is, Chris, it isn't in our hands.
Yeah, I wasn't going to cut him off and say that, but it's not only is it not in our hands, I'd say it's never been less in our hands, put it that way, because it's just, I mean, you have these other squads. Obviously, Leeds have a tough run in, but now, as he's just said, Forest have 2 winnable games. Leicester have already gotten their quote unquote. Well, I don't want to say that, but Leicester also have a couple of games against bottom half teams. I mean, it's just not in our hands. We're not expecting.
We play Wolves and Bournemouth.
Okay, given how Bournemouth looked lately, do you think that that's going to be an easy game?
Listen, Chris. I'm sitting on here, and I'm resigned to the fact that we'd probably get relegated. I mean, some of the others are saying
I am now.
We keep going. I think that this was the opportunity today where we had more of a chance of winning that in the last 10 minutes with a bit of impetus than we do in 90 minutes against Man City and Brighton. Listen, I want to go back. It's probably an awful analogy. I know people want to join in. We've got a phone in coming up as soon as this. That'll be your chance to get a real say. We'll bring all the comments up and we'll get phoning people in. I know Stephen Woodside doesn't agree with us or John. And so I'd love it if he wants to come on and have his say and a bit of a debate with Chris. It's all good here. Chris, The penalty decision then. Stupid from Keane. Arm in the air. Why is he doing that? Don't know. But James Maddison takes a penalty, doesn't he? And it's a poor penalty.
Yeah, I don't know if
kinda,
he's just got shaky legs or how that worked, because the American broadcast said he kind of got a little bit rattled by Pickford's movement. I don't know about that. I think he just tried to go straight down the middle. It didn't work. It's just a poor penalty. That's all.
And Pickford says, listen, we go in 2-1 down. You're thinking we've got half a chance, but my blood was boiling. The fact that we allowed Leicester 2 goals, 2 shit goals, 2 fluke goals.
Another average goal.
They were terrible. And the fact that we then allowed them to get a penalty, and yeah, we saved it, but I was still annoyed. I couldn't see the positive.
I'll say this. I was annoyed, but I thought, given how the attack went, I did think we were going to score again. It was just a matter at that point of if our disastrous defense would hold up. I thought we were going to score. So from that perspective, I thought it was positive. But then
we look more like scoring in this game than in a lot of games.
Well, that's the thing, though.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. That's why at halftime I wasn't feeling horrible. I was annoyed, but I wasn't feeling horrible, given that we've actually had some positivity on the front foot, spent a lot of time in the attacking third. I didn't like in the second.
Thanks, Charlie.
I didn't really expect. Thanks, Charlie. Didn't really expect. I expected Iwobi and Keane to stay on. I didn't want it. I mean, that's what I thought we needed at halftime, was actually a change. Sean Dyche, I think, once the season made a change at halftime. Maybe that's one too many. I'm not sure. But either way, Iwobi comes out. Didn't like it at first. Obviously, I liked it a little bit later, but I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was a good job. Iwobi didn't get substituted. I mean, he had a couple of opportunities to score in the game and eventually gets one. It's a probing pass actually into the box. For once, Calvert-Lewin fights with the defender for it, but doesn't get it, and it drops down to Iwobi. Hits it he hits it first time, and it's a very nice finish. And the goalkeeper for Leicester had made quite a few saves, but he couldn't keep this one out. And at 2-2, Chris, you're thinking Everton, if they just throw a little bit extra at this, Leicester are going to fall apart.
Well, right. And there was plenty of time left. And the thing I love the most, which is nobody's even mentioned this yet, was when that goal went in, Iwobi immediately runs and gets the ball and brings it back to the center. It's 2-2. It's not like we're chasing 1-2 goals, whatever it is. That actually showed me that we are up for this, and we're all, seemingly going to throw the kitchen sink at Leicester.
And I'm pleased, because I said to you in the preview, which I wasn't on, that Alex Iwobi has to get into the box on the back post and that's the score, and he did. So look, he evened himself out with that. I don't know whether anyone watching on this channel and one of our pundits wants to do a separate player ratings video. Maybe Jeff could do it for us. I'd love to see his player ratings, and then do yours separately. He's saying hit the like button. Thank you, Mr. Thompson, much appreciated. Lila's saying Chelsea are worse than us. Everton in the dot saying their keeper was man of the match. He kept them in it. There was chance after chance, but there was also missed chances. I personally felt that Leicester built a lot of the pressure was coming from Leicester. Felt that they played very vertically, Chris.
Yeah.
Every pass was forward, in behind us. We'd kind of make a half-arsed attempt to win the ball back. They just knock it behind you. They'd knock it around you.
They did seem like they had a purpose, but I will say this. If any team can give us a run for our money in terms of wasted possession, it is Leicester, because for a lot of this game, they were doing their best to let us back into it, right? That's why I thought we would get the second goal, because they were also making a ton of mistakes. And so,
yeah,
again,
it was a game of who's going to make the least mistakes. And I said this to you before. If we don't make the mistakes and if we wait for Leicester to make the mistakes, they will come. We will get chances. But if we gift them and we play into their hands like we did with the stupid second goal and with the penalty, right, then you deserve everything you get. You deserve to go down. And the game went on. You saw it. Leicester, I'd say, between after we had a mini spell after we got the equaliser, but I think Leicester then took control. Vertical passes playing around us, a lot of 1-2s. I was waiting. I was thinking, hang on a minute, we're nowhere near them. Doucouré's position's a bit too high for me. I think we need to get more players behind the ball, maybe drop a few yards deeper, wait for Leicester to give it away, and try and snatch it and hit them on the counter. But for that, you need pace. So I was wondering where the substitutes were. Listen, I think Demarai Gray was really bad against Fulham, Man United. I think he was, in all the games I've seen in the last few weeks since he moved off his striking position, I thought he's been woeful. Contributed next to nothing. A luxury player.
But you're speaking of
But
a
still
starting
think he
90
should come
minute.
on.
You're speaking of a 90-minute starting Damari Gray, not a 75th minute sub. I can't stress that enough. Those are two different players, as all players are when they only have 15 minutes to give. They don't have to get the pace on. They can just actually give it their all. Dwight McNeil worked his bollocks off. Can't be said any other way.
He
right?
was my man of the match.
Sure, and that's great. Watching him run up and down I'm saying he did good things. I'm saying Decore even had a little bit of pace to him in some transitional elements. Even Mikalenko, one of the only things he did was a little bit in the last 10 minutes have a little bit of pace because everyone else was so dragging. But that's the point. Even with this pace, the pace could have been better with fresh legs. That's the point I'm making, because while it did look like, with the exception of the Decore chance, which he hit that about as well as he could. Some of these half chances that we created towards the end could have been so much better if we just had more pace, because Leicester had no pace. Their defense was absolutely gassed. We could have just torched them and we did nothing.
Leicester's defense is very, very poor. That's
bad.
the reason they're in this mistake. And I felt like if we'd have brought Onana on and if we'd have brought Damari Gray on and said, right, your job here, when we get the ball, we're going to sit back a little bit because Leicester are hard to get the ball off. We are struggling with them. But when we get the ball, we're going to launch it and we're going to not launch it, but we're going to get forward in numbers with purpose, with intensity, with energy, like Dwight McNeil tried to do. Just drive with the ball, make something happen. We didn't make those changes. Whether that was right or wrong, I'll leave it you guys to decide. And it certainly we'll look at more in detail at that in the phone in. But certainly I was quite infuriated. I felt like the last 10 minutes there were there for the taking. After we rode the spell of pressure from Leicester, we had a few corners. We headed over. They looked gilt-edged. The chances, we're better in the air than them. We're winning the chance. Head it down.
Yeah.
Keen heads it over.
Wasted.
It's over. It's useless. Some of the players, for me, were pointless today and continued to do that. And I just felt like in the last 10 minutes, the Decore chance, the keeper does save well, but the set pieces, head it down. Keep it down. I felt like we had momentum and we should have. And in the end, we're being made. I think some fans are happy with the point, but I feel I'm not being made to feel like it was a good point just because of the context of us giving away the pen.
There is such a difference between saying before the game you'd take 2-2 and saying that during the course of that game you can't sit here and tell me.
But should we be grateful because we would have lost this 3-1 at halftime with the pen? Should we be grateful for the draw?
I say no. I don't know. This is a unfun game to play.
Yeah. And on that bombshell, I'm going to post a link here in the comments. This has been a really difficult match reaction to do, possibly the hardest one I've done in a while.
I'm going to post this link first, since you promised I could plug it.
Yeah, please give Chris his personal channel, Real Domino Chris, YouTube and Twitter as well. Worth a follow. Support him for everything he does for us as a channel. Make sure you like and subscribe on there. And more importantly, make sure you join us on the next show that we're doing in around 10 minutes time. It probably won't even be that. I'm going to crack straight on. I'm going to post the link here. So after you've been on Real Domino Chris on YouTube and Twitter and hit the subscribe button for him, please join us for the post-match phone in. This is where we hand the floor over to you, and we'll get some of the people here who've been giving us grief and who don't agree with us or who do agree with us. And if you prefer Jeff in your corner, you prefer Jan in your corner, or do you actually agree with what I'm saying, that, yeah, we can be pissed off that we made individual errors and we continue to do the same mistakes and we didn't take initiative and the keeper. And ultimately, I am right at the end of the day. I am spot on and everyone else is wrong. So come and fight me. Come and have your opinion.
That's what I've told all my ex-girlfriends.
Yeah. Please join us. If there's a way to pin it, it's here. You can just go straight on to follow Everton. Click on our actual YouTube. Jack says, I prefer Jeff, Jan, and Stevie.
Well, good on you, Jack.
Good on you, Jackie boy. But come and join us on the phone, and Jack, and come and have it out with us. No, I don't know. I'm just a bit depressed.
I'm still hot. Like I am just fired. I'm angry. I'm angry. I wasn't angry last week after Newcastle. I'm pissed off this week. It was there.
That was it.
It was
I
there.
don't know.
That might be the season. I can't stress enough. It's like everybody's all calm. Like that might not be the entirety of our season just wasted away just now.
Chris, am I mad in thinking that I was pissed off that Leicester could just pass around us quite easily and chip balls in behind, and they'd have a runner. And when we'd get it, it would be a bit like, let's hoof it to Calvert-Lewin and hope he holds it up. And
No, that's just
I'm
Everton ball.
entitled to be annoyed by this.
No ideas, no creativity. It's the same old Everton with a
Yet
little
we
bit
still had chances, and we
Right.
still should have scored. So it's like a bit of a mess. It's really a bit of a mess.
Well, it's the same old in terms of lack of ideas, but Leicester's defense is that poor that it still made us look decent. We still had, again, a little bit more possession than we usually have, but still a lot of it was wasted. I can't let that go. The players did play better. I'll give them that. They gave a lot of effort.
They did, but no one's disputing that. But the standards and the are so low, and on another day, they do tear us. They do tear us. Thank you everyone for watching. Hit the subscribe button right now.
I'm gonna look at flights overseas because that's how insane I am.
Don't do it to yourself, mate. I prefer Chris to Ryan. That's my own missus. That's quite funny. I prefer Chris to Ryan right now because I don't know whether I've made a bit of a horror show of this stream, but I don't care. Whatever.
We've all had quite a say. I think, you know what? In all honesty, I think it was good to see the emotion from everyone, from top to bottom. You, Mabs, John, obviously from the ground, Jan, Jeff, everybody that jumped on. I think it was cool. I think that Steve says he has 5 minutes. He's joined from his living room. He sits there for about 10 or 15, then comes on and Stevie was probably the most calm out of everyone though, trying to rationalize it. I enjoyed that.
I've done that though, Chris. I've done that for weeks. I've come on and I've tried to be mature and ask questions and hold it together. At the point today where I felt like my emotions were getting thrown through with the early lead, then doing the stupid stuff and then clawing it back and still not being passive with the decision making, with the managerial decision making. So I just feel like my emotions were drawn through. We were dragged through a hedge. And yeah, I'll be on the other link right now. Just join us. Click on follow Everton. It's scheduled there already. See you in a sec.
All right. See ya.